The Big Apple will have some decisions to make when it comes to their GM, Joe Schoen, on Tuesday, of course, saying that, look, they do like Saquon Barkley. They played this game before last season. It did not work out. Of course, the two sides have come to a deal. But once again, he's a free agent. Do you bring him back? Based on the numbers we saw last year, of course, with the team not achieving that postseason run we saw the season before under Brian Daboll. But the numbers for Saquon, they were RB1-like. You see it there, over 1,200 scrimmage yards, top 15 rushing yards, just short of 1,000, and 10 TDs. Oh, boy. Very interested to see what they do with that decision. And speaking of that, our Jonathan Jones getting a chance to chat with the man himself.
Jonathan Jones, CBS Sports, alongside New York Giants general manager Joe Schoen. And Joe, let me ask you, today, right here, as we sit, you guys are what, 30-ish million in cap space? Is that right?
Yeah, correct.
Roughly?
Yeah, yep.
Last week, this time, you guys were what, 17-ish?
yeah, that's right.
What's it like now having a nice little cash infusion for your plans in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, that's a good point. So I was sitting in my office on Friday afternoon and, watching free agents, and you're trying to figure out, okay, I got this much money, how am I going to divvy it up? And you get an email from the league, and I look again, and I'm in there by myself, and I'm like, holy cow. Like, we were very conservative in our estimates in terms of where the salary cap would go. So that was a pleasant surprise. And we're actually going to regroup and recalibrate based on the new numbers and what that means for some of the players that we can go after, or even re-signing some of our own. So pleasant surprise that I was excited to see, and I'm sure all 32 teams feel the same way.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, is it an advantage for the New York Giants, or is this the same benefit to all 32?
Yeah, I think the benefits come in different forms. For us, it's, we were in good cap situation where we were going to have some flexibility to do some deals and sign some free agents. And then there's some teams where maybe they were up against the cap or over the cap, or have been in a window where they maybe push money down the road, and will allow them to get back into good cap health. So I think everybody's going to be excited about it. It's going to be beneficial to different teams in different ways, but it obviously benefits all 32 teams and ultimately benefit the players.
Okay, I held out to the third question. Saquon, what is going on with you guys and your franchise back, Saquon Barkley?
Yeah, the plan all along has been to meet with his representatives here in Indianapolis. Again, I've had conversations with Saquon. He knows how we feel about him. We've been going through this for quite some time. Since November of 22 was the first time we've tried to get a longer-term deal done with him. So sure. It's been a long process, and look forward to getting. He has a new agent, Ed Berry, with CAA, and he's got a great reputation. We have a good relationship, and I look forward to sitting down with him and let's get a feel. Like, does he want to be in New York? We want him to be here. What does a fair deal look like to him? Again, we've went through this before. We've been through the song and dance. It shouldn't be a prolonged situation, and we'll see if we can actually get something done this time.
So a long-term deal is absolutely on the table from a Giants perspective.
Yeah, that's on the table. I mean, everything's on the table. I know the franchise tag could be on the table. Again, where it was the franchise number last year to where it is now and what we owe him, it's $155,000 to $200,000 difference if you were going to tag a running back first time this year. So it's really not much difference than what the original tag is this year on the second tag. So we're not going to rule anything out. Those are all conversations we're going to continue to have. And again, he means a lot to the franchise. He's been a really good player for a long time, and he's a guy we'll see if we can get something done with.
How about your safety, Xavier McKinney? There's some talk about the seldom used transition tag.
Yeah.
But what's next with him and your conversations?
Yeah, same deal. When we were going through all these possible scenarios in terms of how we were going to shape the roster for 2024 from a salary cap standpoint, he's squarely in the middle of those conversations, and he's a guy that we'd like to get back. He's 24 years old, played 100% of the snaps, was drafted by the Giants, and played well for us. He's got versatility, and he's a guy he would like to have back. I have a great relationship with Xavier. He was at my office like a week ago, and we had good talks about, hey, this is the business side of it. You haven't been through it before, but we'll go through it. We have a lot of respect for you, and I know he expressed his wanting to be a Giant, and so if the parties both want to come to an amicable deal, hopefully we can do that. He's got David Magetta, who's a really good agent, and we have a good relationship with him as well. So hopefully we can work through the week, and we have a couple weeks till we need to get a deal done, but we'll work towards that.
How important is it for you? You talk about guys who are drafted by the Giants. When the locker room sees how you ultimately in business deal with guys who have been there and have either a tag or a contract, how much do you have to factor in what the group of 53 or 90 are thinking, how your messaging is coming across to them?
Yeah, we're always, every move we make, you think about that. What is the locker room message? If this guy leaves, what's the domino effect? Is it addition by subtraction? Does it hurt the locker room? Does it, whatever it may be. So we're always trying to think about that. And, sometimes we'll lean on players. We'll ask players like, hey, what do you think about if we do this? Will it, maybe we think differently than what the reality is in the locker room. So we're always taking that into account. But I do think it sends a message if you get drafted by the Giants, you do things the right way, you assimilate into the culture, and you get rewarded for it. I think that's important. That sends a message to everybody in the locker room like, hey, they're going to take care of their own one way or the other. And, again, it takes two to tango in these deals and to get a deal done. And we got to put value on where we think there's a walk-away point or where it makes sense. And, again, rarely do both parties get everything they want.
Sure,
you got to find somewhere in the middle where both parties are happy, and again, those are the best type of deals. But I do think it sends a positive message throughout the locker room when you're taking care of your own.
Well, one guy you guys took care of this time last year, Daniel Jones, recovering from the ACL surgery. How is he? Where is he in his recovery? And then also, what is his future with you guys?
Yeah, again, I've said it before. The expectation is he's going to be our starter. Going into week 1 if he's available, and I'm hoping that he'll be available for the start of camp. So Nobody works harder than this kid. He's in there daily, rehabbing. He is throwing now, which is a positive. He's not dropping back, but from a stationary position, he's throwing now. So he's progressing well. He's running on the Ultra G, and so he's on the right track. We've had no setbacks, and again, he's in there doing everything he can do to get ready. And he may be able to do some stuff this spring, not team drills, but 7-on-7. There is some hope that he'll be able to go through some stuff during the spring.
So you could see him in some 7-on-7s in June in an OTA or a veteran minicamp.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if he's throwing right now, again, I don't have a crystal ball in terms of the rehab. That every patient reacts differently to these type of surgeries. So where he's trending right now, that I'm hopeful for that. Not going to promise it or guarantee it, but that's what we're hopeful for.
I'm going to go ahead and ask you this question, then I'm going to predict your answer. You guys pick at number 6. And you're about to tell me all options are on the table, Jonathan. We could trade up, we could trade down, we could stay there, we could pick anybody. So are all options on the table at 6 overall?
You nailed it. Jonathan. No, it's the combine. Not only is it important to get the medical and to meet with the college prospects, and it's also information gathering. So, the entire league's here. You're going to talk to other general managers. You're going to talk to other people that may be insiders or whatever it may be, and you're going to kind of gather information on what teams are thinking. What may be available where. So, to say I know what we're going to do right now, you're still gathering information. We still have 2 months. Free agency, however that goes, will obviously affect what you do in the draft based on where your roster is. So. It's an exciting time. This is really the start of the 2024 season for us. Everybody's here in Indy. We could talk to the agents about the free agent, our free agents within the building, and then we can also, get around the draft pick. So we're excited about it.
You were on the road a lot at a lot of colleges, seeing a lot of players, but you also went to a lot of games where there were some top quarterbacks who were out there. What stood out to you in your time on the road, seeing some of these top quarterbacks that I could list off, and a Caleb Williams, a Drake May, a Jaden Daniels among them? What sort of stood out when you were watching these guys when you were on the road scouting?
Yeah, it's a good class, and again, like we just signed Daniel Jones to a deal, so it's not like I was out there, hey, let me go see these receivers. It was if it was a Josh Allen year and there was nobody else at Wyoming but Josh and I was there, that would be something. But when you go watch USC play Washington, there's a lot of good players on the field. Sure. Or LSU plays Florida State. So it's a strong quarterback class. There's some depth. There were some good quarterbacks that played in the East-West game and the Senior Bowl. So excited to see some of the guys that we haven't been around yet here this week. But it's a good class, across the board. I mean, I think it's a deep draft, especially up where we're picking in 6, and we have 4 picks in the top 70. So we're excited about utilizing those picks and continue to build the roster through the draft.
Where is the draft the deepest? What positions?
Yeah, I would say early on offensively, I think it's a good draft, and then I think as you get later into the draft, I think that's where some defensive players will come into play. But I think offensively, it's a pretty strong draft, early on.
4 in the top 70, maybe needing some help on offense. Doesn't sound like you're going to really slide out.
We'll see.
All options are on the table.
All options are on the table. I have no idea.
That's great. All right.
Again, I go back to the Josh Allen. Like, when we were sitting at the combine, we were at 21 and 22.
Yeah.
We ended up at 7. We ended up with both first-round picks. You just never know. There's a lot of things that can happen. We haven't been around a lot of these players yet. Some guys we think may be in the mix now. Maybe once we're around them after a while, they're not a fit. And those guys are no longer in. So you really start to narrow your focus. You always cast a wide net to start, and we'll narrow it down, and we'll do what's best for the organization.
There you have it. Joe Schoen, New York Giants general manager. Thanks so much.
All right. Thanks for having me.
The fellas for the Pick Six dialing in. I'm curious to see what they have to say about the Big Apple and the Giants there, down year, and maybe bringing Saquon back and plenty more. Who is going to be QB1? Is it Danny Dimes or DeVito? Is that coming back? That might be part of the discussion there, but only way you find out is download and subscribe.